Well, what are these trends? Okay, here's the first one. Jesus, by the way, the only prophet, when Jesus is teaching on prophecy, the only prophet that Jesus names by name is this one. I would say Daniel is Jesus' favorite prophecy prophet. Now, Jesus' favorite prophet is Isaiah. He quotes him most. But when Jesus talks about the end of the world, he talks about Daniel. What did Daniel say? But you, Daniel, this is Gabriel talking to Daniel at the end of the book. You, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book till the time of the end. What's the time of the end going to look like? What's one of these trends? Well, many are going to run to and fro. Now, remember, the Bible was written primarily to people that, in the New Testament, almost exclusively, to common slaves and normal working people, not to the rich. It was really written for average, kind of anybody to understand. You don't really need a PhD and 4 Greek grammars to understand most of the Bible. It just is whatever it says. You know what Jesus said the end of the world is going to look like? It's going to be a time when there's rapid travel. Now think about the time of the Bible. Well, in fact, here, I'll show you. In the time of the Bible, people moved at either the speed of wind, sailing, or the speed of horse, riding on a horse or being pulled by a horse, or at the speed of feet. Okay? You didn't have a lot of other choices. Either you walked or you rode an animal, pulled thing, or on the animal, or you were in an object pushed by wind or paddled. Okay, 3,000 years ago, Jonah got on a boat that was not very much less different than the boats Paul took on his missionary journeys. 500 years ago, Columbus came discovering the new world that had already been discovered, but he discovered it again on a boat not very much different than Jonah's, Paul's, Columbus's, and the boat Ben Franklin went on to get the French to help us against the British in the American Revolution 200 plus years ago. And then in New York, upstate New York, 150 years ago, there was a big revolution, the steam engine. That changed everything. It wasn't anymore boats had to be paddled or blown by the wind. They could go 24 hours a day and crisscross the ocean because they became steam engines. And then quickly following, we got into more combustion engines and cars, but more rapid planes and then rockets. 4+ billion people now fly every year. It's amazing to think how rapidly we've gone from 3,000 years ago to, really, it didn't really change till 150 years ago, really. I mean, the roads got smoother in the Roman Empire, but they didn't get any faster. Secondly, what's the other thing this verse says? It says knowledge will increase. Think about this. Think about Google. I mean, you guys have grown up. There's always been a Google. It started in 1998, and so, you guys, it started before most of you. You think it's always been here. It wasn't always here. We used to call someone, we had a phone that was attached to the wall with a long cord and this thick book, and you had to look up alphabetically their name and look at this number, and then you had to keep your finger there, and then you had to dial this rotary dial, and boy, we were thankful when it went to push buttons. You guys don't know anything about how fast we've gone. Google, nanometer architecture. I mean, in New York, they have the Nano Institute near Word of Life in Albany, which they're now working on 3 nanometer and 2 nanometer architecture of chips. That means in a quarter-size silicon wafer, they're making billions of lines, etching them in and making data devices that can have switches in them. Unbelievable. Okay, here's my phone. My cell phone, as Apple describes it, has a camera powered by a chip. Now, this is not the newest one. I have the not as new one. Mine only has 11.8 billion transistors in my phone with a 16-core neural engine that's capable of 11 trillion operations per second. Now, the code word for that is teraflop. Tera is the abbreviation for trillion. And flop is the floating, it's an equation for measuring the calculations. Here's a perspective. 15 years ago, teraflop computing was only done by building-sized government-funded computers in Japan, USA, the EU, and China was working on it. But look what's happening so rapidly. Did you watch Elon Musk last night give the warning to the world of where AI is going? Where is AI going? He says, dangerously going. We are so computer dependent that we find, and I'm not going to cover it now because it's chapter 13 and that's next week, but Revelation 13, at the height of the tribulation, there's an image of the beast. The beast is the human Satan indwells and operates through in the tribulation, the Antichrist, you know him as. But he gets wounded, dies, he comes back to life, and then he sets up an image of himself in Jerusalem. And guess what this image is? It's a robot. It's an idol. Icon is the Greek word. It's an icon. An icon is a humanly made device that's not alive, but Satan breathes into it, and it becomes an image of the Antichrist that is demonically empowered, artificially intelligent. Ooh, have you heard that word before? Artificial intelligence, AI. That's the height of the tribulation. Nobody even knew what AI was until, Elon Musk founded the original open source AI. So, just in the last 10 years, this has been going on.